Hey everybody, welcome back to the Joey Only Show. I see this channel is starting to grow fast. That's great. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers as fast as we can here so we can get this monetized and get this show on the road. You can go check out my other channel, Joey Only, Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel there for all your weather updates there. Lots going on today in the weather world. All right, so I've been making these videos and they're getting a lot of views, so I want to keep making them here. In the last 24 hours, these are some of the footages that I have collected regarding the war in Iran, some of the information that maybe you're not seeing or not hearing, things you might want to know about it. First, we got White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt. We're going to listen to what she says. I got a rebuttal here in a second. Listen to what she says regarding the school getting blown up.
On the Iranian school, why did President Trump say yesterday that Iran may have Tomahawk missiles when there are only 3 other U.S. allies plus the U.S. that have those missiles and therefore could...
Look, again, the President said yesterday he will accept the conclusion of this investigation by the Department of War. I know there's been a lot of speculation in the media about who may be responsible for this. We're not going to get ahead of the Department of War and the conclusion of that investigation. The President has a right to share his opinions with the American public, but he has said he'll accept the conclusion of that investigation. And frankly, we're not going to be harassed by the New York Times, who's been putting out a lot of articles on this, making claims that have just not been verified by the Department of War, to quickly wrap up this investigation because the New York Times is calling on us to do so.
What bothers me about what they're saying is how they keep moving the goalposts and keep blaming someone new, keep coming up with new excuses instead of just coming clean and saying, yeah, we accidentally bombed a school, right? You know, at first they're like, no, the Iranians bombed themselves. And now, okay, now it is that the Iranians got Tomahawk missiles from somehow, even though only the Netherlands, Australia, and England also have them. But somehow the Iranians have Tomahawks. Don't you know? Everybody has Tomahawks. And, and they're hiding in schools. That's the new one I'm hearing today, trying to justify this. They're trying to say that the Iranian army is hiding in schools and they're doing these dirty, underhanded things. Okay, well, let's just think about that briefly. I want to look at Gaza, for example, and just look at the 97% of buildings in Gaza have been damaged or destroyed. By mid-2024, 123 schools and university were completely destroyed, with 335 others damaged. What is that? That's like friggin' almost 500 schools, 450 schools damaged or destroyed in Gaza. 19 universities suffered severe damage. 80% of university buildings destroyed by July 2024. Okay, that's long since passed. There's no more to destroy. That's why. High number of schools are unusable or been repurposed. No, the Israelis would never bomb a school. The Americans would never bomb a school. No, there's no problem with that. No, they'll bomb every school. Quit blaming the Iranians and saying the Iranians are hiding inside schools. Clearly, that's not what happened. Clearly, what happened was a whole bunch of kids got killed, whacked, and that's how she played out. Not only did they bomb all the hospitals in Gaza, they said, the fighters are hiding in the basement of the hospital. They didn't have any evidence of that. They just bombed the hospitals. They bombed the hospitals right from day one of the war in Gaza. That is how the West fights wars. They wouldn't bomb a hospital. They've bombed hospitals all over Tehran already, all over Iran. They've been bombing police stations. They've been bombing fire stations. And the Iranians have been hitting back. In fact, I have a whole bunch of footage here to show you. First of all, now the talk yesterday was that the Iranians were going to put mines in the Strait of Hormuz. And then the Americans said, well, we destroyed 16 of their boats. We destroyed 19. No, we destroyed 46 boats. We destroyed all their... Maybe they destroyed some of these boats, and we got some footage here of boats being destroyed. That seems somewhat legitimate. But I do want to counter back with, that's not the whole picture, because when you look at what's going on in the Gulf, 3 tankers were attacked today. We also have facilities on fire. Play the clips. Okay, I've been talking to you about how people are getting arrested in Israel for taking videos of the explosions. Here's another crazy thing that I heard. We've also heard before that the Americans and the Israelis somehow hijacked Iranian TV and were putting out messages of doom on Iranian TV for everyone. Well, the favor was returned. On March 8th, people in Israel started getting texts like this on their phones.
This is fucking crazy. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard sent a mass text message directly to Israeli phones in Hebrew, warning civilians to flee the country. The message read, "The last American radar systems in the region have been destroyed. Your government leaders are lying to you. Leave the country. Missiles are on their way. no shelter can provide safety. It was signed the Revolutionary Guard.
And from what little bit of footage is leaking out now that things are being very, very highly suppressed, we're not allowed to know the damage going on. We're not allowed to see how bad it actually is. We just get hints here and there of things like this. We're seeing examples of multiple hits in the morning on Tel Aviv. People responding to fires, responding to crisis. There was a big satellite installation, radio telescope dish, series of dishes that was hit by the Iranians. Here's even an image of the dish getting destroyed. Here's some more images from the bombing going on.
Right now we have incoming Iranian ballistic missile fire toward Tel Aviv. Israel's advanced missile defense systems are working right now to shoot down the incoming fire.
Okay, this piece of footage isn't new. This goes back 5 or 6 months ago when Netanyahu spoke at the UN and everybody walked out. Why am I mentioning that today? Because a number of countries like Sweden and Switzerland have spoke out and said that they will arrest Netanyahu if he sets foot in their country. We're seeing a big jump in the resistance. Here you go.
Please, order in the hall. 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 Please order in the hall and please be seated.
Canada says it would uphold its international obligation and would have Netanyahu arrested, although we have no evidence of that. International Criminal Court arrest warrants for Israeli leaders. This is a thing. You can look it up here. The Criminal Court, because of international crimes against humanity, there is arrest warrants that are out for a number of people from the Israeli Defense Forces and government, from the Zionist regime, including people like Yoav Gallant, who use starvation as a weapon of war, bombing children, bombing schools, things like that, all that and more. There's a legal analysis commentary. You can look this all up for yourself, my friends. Well, that's the show for this afternoon. Take care out there, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. Be safe, be wise, keep the resistance rolling. Ciao.
Republicans against Trump, we stand united. Release the entire Epstein documents or be impeached.